everybody. Good evening to all of the social media community. Yours truly, Frank Morano here. I hope you had a great weekend. I certainly did. Well, the weekend, you still got a couple more hours left to it, but by the time the football games end, you watch 60 Minutes in The Simpsons and get ready for tonight's radio program. The weekend's gone. Am I right? All right. A lot to get to. Obviously, yesterday, I mentioned this on Friday. Yesterday was the anniversary of one of the most auspicious or inauspicious dates, well, most infamous dates, I guess, as FDR would say, in American history, the anniversary of the Pearl Harbor attack. And there was a lot of great coverage in both the newspapers, television, elsewhere, certainly on radio, about what the Pearl Harbor attack has meant to American history. And it was incredible to see a couple of Pearl Harbor survivors. I saw one gentleman who went back to Pearl Harbor. The gentleman is now over 100 years old. And it's funny, not funny, just illustrative of the passage of time. When I was growing up in Staten Island, we'd have the Memorial Day Parade in Great Kills. Now, that's not like the Memorial Day Parade in Fifth Avenue, in Manhattan, or in Washington, D.C. It was just in one neighborhood in Staten Island. It's not even the main Memorial Day Parade on Staten Island. And they used to have Pearl Harbor veterans and survivors of Pearl Harbor at that parade. And it's so interesting that not long ago, relatively, there were enough Pearl Harbor survivors that you could get them at your local neighborhood parade. And now you could probably count on two hands how many Pearl Harbor survivors are still around. And obviously, their ages being what it is, pretty soon there will be very few Pearl Harbor. There'll be no Pearl Harbor survivors. So to me, it's a reminder that we've got to keep people, we've got to take advantage, and I mean that in the best way, of people while they're here. Ask them about their memories, their recollections, and take advantage. You know, that's one of the things that I wish that I had done more of with my grandmother, with my Uncle Carmine, and even with my grandfather and my Uncle Caesar, certainly, is recorded more interviews with them. I had several of them on the radio with me. My grandmother a couple of times, my Uncle Caesar a couple of times, never my grandfather. But I wish I had taken the time to just had them sit for an hour or two and ask them all sorts of questions about things they observed, because once they're gone, they're gone. And if there's not a memorialized recording of that, then a lot of those recollections are lost to the sands of time. So that's that. Michael Cutler says, absolutely the greatest generation. So true. Yeah, by the way, thank you for everybody tuning in. 9 of you on Facebook, 1 of you on the YouTube, and 3 of you on Instagram. Thank you to everybody. If you are watching, please be so good as to give us a like. Let us know you're there. Also, you can give us a share, and that'll encourage other people to watch. And do as Michael Cutler just did. Leave a comment just to let us know that you're watching, or whatever your thoughts are, or anything you want to comment on. Couple of things I want to mention. It's going to be relatively brief. One, first of all, the title of this or this description of this video, New York on Sunday. That is, obviously, I'm in New York and it's a Sunday. That's also an homage to one of my favorite Bobby Darin songs, where, you know, New York on Sunday, big city taking a nap. And I used to work Sunday mornings, and I remember in the financial district, and I'd walk out of work, and except for the people going to church next door, there was just this very unfamiliar calmness to Manhattan early on a Sunday morning. And I remember thinking every week, really, that 24 hours from now, it's going to be a mob scene in these very same spots that I'm walking right now. But I guess that's the way things are. I don't know. I'm waxing awfully philosophically today. Hey, want to thank everybody for the incredible ratings that we had in the most recent ratings book, at least in New York. I have not seen most of the other markets yet for the November book, but we hit it out of the park. We were number one. That's really all I can say. They are very careful with what information they let you release publicly, because you have to pay for those ratings. You have to pay for the right to share with them. So what I've done actually is I have posted what the ratings were for New York, but that's only for subscribers. If you're a subscriber of the Facebook page, and if you want to become a subscriber, you can go to facebook.com/become supporter/Morano fan. You can become a subscriber, 99 cents a month. It's the best 99 cents a month you're ever going to spend. And you will see exactly what the ratings are. But the point is they were good. We were number one yet again. So obviously I'm hoping that will continue now that the election has come and gone. Although, honestly, when it comes to our show, I think we're not necessarily dependent on an election for anything like that. So I think because a lot of the subjects that we do are not necessarily political issues, I think our ratings may end up being pretty consistent. At least that's my hope. We'll see. All right. Kathy asks, how's Carmine? He's so much better. Thank you for asking. He's had no fever for 3 days. He's still just got a little bit of a cough, but he's so much better. We'll see if he wants to come in and say hello before his mother gives him a bath. We'll see. So thank you for asking. He's doing much better, which is a great relief to not only me, but his mother. And he slept through the night last night, slept through the night before. So he seems to be doing a lot better. I know a lot of you are waiting for that New Year's Eve invitation. I am putting the finishing touches on the logistics for this year. We are having a New Year's Eve party in Atlantic City. That's the most important thing you need to know on December 30th. So please just pencil that in on your calendar and make sure that you're available. Tommy Stiggs Social Club. Good evening from North Jersey. First time here, Frank. This just popped up in my feed. Well, thank you, Tommy. And that goes to show you the algorithm for a change is working on my behalf. This video should be popping up in everybody's feed. If you want to help us out, and you are watching this, by the way, you can give a share. I see on Instagram we got Richard Luthman checking in. We got Celia checking in. It was great to see you, Celia, at the Community Board 3 Christmas party. So, by the way, Richard Luthman does a really interesting column. Richard, I don't know if you want to tell people how they subscribe. I think if you just type in Richard Luthman Substack, you can find it pretty easily. I get it in my email. And you know what the subject of his most recent column is? Who the next U.S. attorney for the Eastern District should be. And he goes through a lot of the candidates because there's a lot of names being mentioned, although he did not mention Thomas Kniff in his piece, but he mentioned a lot of the other people that are being talked about. But he gives a pretty warm analysis for my friend Arthur Aidala. And I have to tell you, I'm sure a lot of you saw this Daily News article where it says, President Trump is considering Arthur Aidala for a U.S. attorney in Brooklyn for the Eastern District, and other papers have picked it up again as well. That's the Brooklyn Eagle, I believe. I could not think of a better choice than Arthur Aidala. Now, am I biased because he's a close friend? Absolutely. Absolutely. I view everything through the prism of our friendship. That being said, here is a guy who has experience as a prosecutor. He's got experience as not just a defense attorney, but an attorney in private practice handling all matters. And when you're a U.S. attorney, you may find yourself prosecuting a murder one day, a cryptocurrency case the next day, a kidnapping case the next day, a drug case the next day. So the fact that he's had a private sector legal career that has gone into so many different areas, I think would serve him really well to be a great prerequisite for being U.S. attorney. And I can tell you, as somebody that has watched him closely and known him quite well for the last, 17, 18 years, he has just an incredible intellect. A lot of times people don't realize this because he's so down to earth and easy to get along with and charming. He's brilliant. The guy is brilliant. And a lot of times, because he was on Fox News for so many years, the rap on him was, he's just a TV attorney. I don't think you can look at the paperwork in that Harvey Weinstein case and say that, because not only was it incredibly well written and well argued, as evidenced by the fact that the Court of Appeals threw out that conviction, but it was so logically put together And I think he would be a stellar choice. And the other thing that matters, as far as I'm concerned, beyond experience and intellect, is character. And I can tell you that this guy has the utmost character, integrity, and more. My wife just messaged me. What did she say? Hopefully I'm not in trouble. Let's see. What did she send? Oh, she sent me some nice pictures of Carmine and me from the weekend. That's nice. All right. Al Gachulo, why was I subscribed to that Substack? I never subscribed to it. I'm certainly not reading a guy who was running around with a sword at one point and wanted to challenge someone to a duel. He's talking about Richard Luthman. Yeah, Richard, I don't know. Richard's watching on Instagram, so I don't know if we can see Al's, if you can respond and have your comment go up there. But it's funny, that stuff that Al mentions, that's so 7 years ago, right? Because he's done so much stuff that's wackier that the public learned about since then. I mean, that doesn't even describe the state criminal conviction he has or the federal criminal conviction that he has. So, Richard, if you would care to provide an answer to Al as to why he was subscribed, feel free, because I don't have an answer, obviously. I'm not sure why I was subscribed, but I'm glad I was, because I enjoy getting the emails. Celia says, great to see you again, Frank. Yeah, it's great. It's nice to have these in-person meetings at the community board, right? Isn't it nice? It's nice. I don't want to get into a whole big thing on this, but, the Advance has been covering the fact that the community boards have not been meeting. Well, not the community boards, just one, Community Board 3, the one that I'm on. And they were not meeting in person. And technically, that means all the stuff that they were doing is null and void and in violation of the open meetings law. So I can tell you there was at least, I don't want to say anybody's name, but at least one person at the Christmas party came over to me and said, thank you for making such a big issue and getting us to meet in person, which I was happy to do. Well, not that I did it. I mean, that's the law. Although there were a couple of people that seemed not too happy to see me at that Christmas party. But it was a great party. And I don't know that she watches this, but my thanks to Diane Perugia for putting all that great work together, because it's like herding cats. Who's coming? Who's bringing a spouse? Collecting money. And it's a thankless job, and it's not like Diane doesn't have anything else to do. She's been one of the busiest people that I know. All right. Arthur says, Al says, Arthur would be a fantastic U.S. attorney because he cares about the law. Well, I would agree with Al there, but I think there's a lot of people that care about the law. I think Arthur just has that unique combination of intellect, experience, and character that I don't know that all the other candidates possess. A lot of the other people they're talking about, great folks, I'm sure, especially anybody that has the ability to indict me. You could bet I'm going to be saying nice things about them. I'm sure a lot of people, one person who's not very politically connected, but somewhat politically connected messaged me and said, your friend Arthur doesn't have the shot. I said, why? He said he doesn't have the educational pedigree of all the other candidates that are being mentioned. Let me tell you something. If Arthur doesn't get picked because President Trump thinks there's someone else that would do a better job, fine. But if he doesn't get picked because he didn't go to Yale, Harvard, Georgetown, or Duke, give me a break. That's ridiculous. That is the worst kind of elitism. And if there's anybody that's going to stand up to that kind of elitism, I hope it's President Trump. We'll see. By the way, speaking of Duke Law School graduates and people that know the law, my guest, I actually have two lawyers on the radio tonight. One is Jeffrey Lichtman. I'm going to get his analysis of this Daniel Penny case, this Daniel Penny situation. Certainly seems to be looking good for him right now, I think. I'm not an attorney, but I've watched a number of trials, both federal cases and state cases, and I would think this is a very good sign for him right now. I'll get Jeffrey Lichtman's take, who's waited for quite a few verdicts in his day. Then I'm going to talk with obviously Assad. What is going on with Assad? Looks like he's out in Syria. It's funny. We had Ambassador Peter Ford on the other day, who obviously comes at things from a more pro-Assad perspective, and that's fine. I like to have every perspective on, but he was basically saying that it's a matter of weeks or months until Assad's forces take back Aleppo. Turned out not to be the case. Jeffrey, I'm sure, is pretty happy about Assad's ouster because I don't think Assad could exactly be considered a friend of Israel. I'll ask him. I don't want to put words in his mouth. I'll ask him tonight. My fear is that this is going to end up the same way Libya ended up, the same way Egypt ended up, at least initially, and the same way Iraq ended up to some extent, which is that the government that takes over now is going to be worse. And I think if you look at a lot of the people that were playing a role in trying to oust Assad, they're terrorists. They're Al-Qaeda, they're ISIS, they're Islamic fundamentalists. And say what you want about Assad, he was not an Islamic fundamentalist. So my fear is this becomes Libya redux. We'll see. I hope I'm wrong. But the way the Middle East is, it's the same story every year, every week, every day. So we'll see. But I got Jeffrey's take on the Daniel Penny case and Assad being ousted. Fred Rubino on Instagram. I had Assad minus 3 points in Vegas. That's very funny. I saw a lot of people poking fun at the South Korean president using Alan Lichtman's keys to the presidency, and I'm sure you're going to see a lot of those same jokes about Assad at the moment. All right. And my other guest tonight, I'm looking to get someone that's actually in the Middle East right now to potentially talk about Syria, but we'll see. There's a lot of weighty subjects, so I'd like to have some levity. My other guest tonight is attorney John Ray. Now, I had John Ray on a couple of weeks ago. He represents a lot of the victims of the Gilgo Beach killer. And Lindsay Henry, I don't know how many people were listening at the time because I covered this on Thanksgiving Day, and a lot of you were probably off on Thanksgiving and not necessarily listening to the radio. Lindsay Henry is a politician in Long Island, or on Long Island. He's a councilman for the town of Babylon. He is the son of a judge and the son of a DA, and I believe the grandson of a DA. And he was arrested for strangling his daughter. And apparently there's been multiple arrests for domestic violence involving him and his wife. And there was speculation for years. I never said it because I don't want to get sued. There was speculation for years that he was the Gilgo Beach killer. And then when Rex Heuermann got arrested, I said, boy, oh boy, am I glad that I never claimed he was the Gilgo Beach killer. Now, there's speculation that he might be the New Bedford serial killer. I'm going to ask Lindsay Henry about that. Lindsay Henry's welcome to come on the show anytime. I'm going to ask John Ray, the attorney representing a lot of these Gilgo Beach victims, about this today. And if people ask, oh, why should I care if I'm not on Long Island? He's not representing me. The reason is because there is a serial killer that has not been brought to justice. And if there's a chance that law enforcement in Suffolk County missed the very obvious clues as to him being around and allowed him to continue to remain at large, not only running for office and getting elected, but strangling his daughter, I think there's got to be a lot of accountability on that one and a lot of answers for that. D827 on Instagram says, Fred Rubino is so funny. He is. And I mentioned that we're going to have big New Year's Eve party this year. I have it on good authority that Fred will actually be performing at our New Year's Eve party this year, which is very exciting. If you want to get on my email list and get that New Year's Eve invitation when I finally finish it, hopefully it's done by December 30th, you can email me, frank.morano@redappleaudionetworks.com, or you can just text me, 816-8-MORANO. But Fred Rubino will be there, live and in person. You know what? I was feeling quite guilty because my schedule is just so unforgiving that I haven't had a chance to button up all the New Year's Eve details. But I was at my cousin Joanne's for Black Friday, and she and her husband Joe did a wonderful job hosting everybody. And happy birthday to their daughter, Maddie, who had a birthday recently as well. My cousin Jessica, who was there, said, oh, yeah, my friend Sierra already requested off and already booked a room. That's the thing, is the people that go every year, I think they just know to expect the party and where it's going to be. on such and such a date. So I don't feel that bad because people are making their plans accordingly. But if you want to make sure you get the invite, just email me and it's going to be the same location as last year. But just email me and we'll get you we'll get you situated. All right. What else do I have for you? So we got Jeffrey Lichtman and John Ray tonight, possibly something on Syria. If not, plenty of other fun stuff that we're going to get to. I had a busy weekend. I will give you some highlights of the weekend. Yet somehow, with that busy weekend, my wife and I managed to watch not one, but two Christmas movies. So I will give you my review of those Christmas movies. Tell you what to be on the lookout for. Okay. Meantime, a lot of you were asking the question, what should I do? What should I do? What should I do before the show starts tonight? Well, luckily for you, there is a brand new edition of the Racket Report that has been posted. Jeff Nadeau is my guest. This man is the second most knowledgeable journalist about organized crime in the country. The man is an encyclopedia. We had a wide-ranging conversation. I think Curtis might have played some of the clips yesterday on his show. This was the first podcast to report on the death of Jojo Corazzo, the leading Gambino crime family stalwart. We get into that and a whole lot more. Ronnie One Arm Trucchio, out of prison. He's at large. Who's Ronnie One Arm? Tune into the podcast and find out. You know, it's funny. I don't want to display this email because the person that wrote this didn't give me his permission to share this. But this fellow just sent me an email saying, in essence, that this was one of the best podcasts he's ever heard, and it easily could have been another hour. He's exactly right, and it had nothing to do with me. It became all about Jeff Nadeau, who does a great job. All right, let's see. Michael Gerwitz says, your right hood string is tucked inside your sweatshirt. Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay. Ugh. Okay, is that better? Okay, good. Thank you. That would have been, now that's not even, oh, man, that would have been embarrassing. Thank you, Michael Gerwitz. I owe you one. Okay, Felix, on the anniversary of John Lennon's murder, did you ever have David Whalen on the show? Very interesting book on this subject. I have not. I will put him on my list, and I will invite him on. Thank you. Okay, so that's, you got to check out the Racket Report. How do you get the Racket Report? You can just go online to any podcast app and search the Racket Report, or you can just go to wabcradio.com and search the Racket Report there. It is on there as well. I still can't believe they have not found the murderer of, I don't mean to laugh, but you laugh to keep from crying, the assassin of this United Healthcare CEO. I mean, I was looking at in one of the papers today how they traced his steps from him leaving. It's extraordinary. And it's good to know that with all the security, all the cameras in New York and Manhattan, Midtown, that you could still commit a highly publicized murder and find a way to get out of Manhattan. I mean, it's amazing. It's like something out of a movie. And I mean that in the most awful sense. I feel, regardless of how people feel about healthcare companies, and we spent some time talking about this on both Thursday and Friday of last week, I feel awful for this man and for his family, dead at 50. I mean, just no matter what your job is, I wouldn't care if he was the Pope or a criminal. This guy was someone's son, someone's husband, someone's father. It's sad stuff. On a very positive note, Saturday on Netflix, they are bringing back the WWE Saturday Night Main Event. This is so exciting. Not only because they're bringing it back, and this is a piece of wrestling programming that I grew up with, and they're probably going to be doing some really interesting things, but you know who's going to be part of the broadcast team? Jesse the governor of Ventura. They're actually calling him the governing body right now. He's going to be back for the broadcast team. I don't know if this is a one-time thing or if it's going to be a regular thing. I'm curious to see how this goes because usually he's been out of broadcasting now for 30 years, out of wrestling for, I guess, 26 years, by and large, 25 years. Usually you can't go back, right? Because you don't keep up with who the wrestlers are. He's told me that he has not been able to keep up with who's who. Do we have a Jesse Ventura bobblehead doll anywhere to illustrate the point that I'm making? Do we? All right. He must be in the other room. You know, these kids come in here. It's not just Carmine, but these freaking neighborhood kids as well. I mean, I love them. They're great. And they move around all my bobblehead dolls. I mean, what's it coming to where a man can't? Oh, there he is. Here. Oh, there he is. Jesse Ventura. Jesse, the Governor Ventura, great broadcaster, former mayor, former radio talk show host, a rompin' stompin' Navy SEAL frogman, and just one of my favorite people to talk to on radio. And his son Tyrell is going to join me Thursday to give us a little preview of what we can expect on the WWE main event on Netflix on Saturday. Are you excited, Governor? You better believe I'm excited. An underrated actor. He was in obviously Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger, The Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Batman and Robin with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Interesting that he became a governor before Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's very good in that in that Batman and Robin movie. He's only got a small part. I think he's a security guard. He says to Arnold Schwarzenegger's character, Mr. Freeze, he says, "Freeze, what are you doing? You can't live outside the cold zone." But there he is, the man who always tells it like it is. So okay, there's that. All right. You know, it's funny. Different books catch your attention. And look, I have one of Andrew Cuomo's books on the shelf. I can't believe that people are talking about making this man the mayor. I can't believe it. You know, they talk about the Peter principle, how you eventually rise to your level of incompetence. If Andrew Cuomo is able to be elected mayor after the disastrous job that he did as governor, I give up. I don't know what we're doing as a city if somehow he comes in and gets elected mayor. You know, a friend of mine sent me a message after listening to one of my Cuomo commentaries the other day. By the way, I do these local commentaries that's not on the network show. So if you listen to the podcast, that does not include my local commentaries. If you want to hear my local commentaries, you have to go to Frank Morano Interviews and More. That's Frank Morano Interviews and More on any podcast app. So there's that. But he said, "Oh, I had no idea that you had such a problem and such a visceral dislike of Andrew Cuomo." Now, I'm getting that message and I'm thinking, what? How do you not? You know, I think, no, whatever. I don't want to get an all Cuomo rant. I'll never stop. So there's that. Fred Rubino, thank goodness he didn't drive off in the car. Could have been hit with congestion pricing. Bobby Bond says, "Frank, you're losing it." Bobby, that ship has sailed long ago. I lost it a while ago. So that's that. If you want to check out some merchandise like this, you can go to WABCRadiostore.com. I've been trying to get them to add new Frank Morano merchandise, and they have not yet done so. So I'm going to stay on them for that. Oh, so we've made a lot of changes. Not changes, really. We've been trying to get the moderators to do a better job policing the Facebook group. If you want to join the Facebook group, just go on Facebook and type Morano Radio Fans and Haters. And it's meant to be a group discussing the show. Unfortunately, I've been, I think, a little too liberal with this over the years. And people were posting just all sorts of stuff that's not relevant to the show. So I've asked the moderators to step up and make sure that the posts are all relevant to the show. So some people that were turned off by that, maybe you'll come back. Just go to facebook.com/groups/Radio Morano. One fellow, I think it was Roger was his name. He said that he was not happy that his posts are now subject to approval. I must have pre-approved him because he had several on-topic posts, and then I his pre-approved, and then I guess he started posting about stuff that was not relevant to the show. And he was so upset about this, about Now It All's post getting approved, he canceled his subscription to the subscriber side of the Facebook page. So we have now a 99-cent hole to fill. So if you want to take Roger's spot, we could use you. And by the way, this makes a great gift for the Frank Morano fan on your list. Gift them a subscription to the Facebook page, right? I think that'll be nice. On December 15th, I am the honoree at the Italian American Civil Rights League. If you would like to be a part of that, you can go to IACRL something, and you can IACRL.org, I believe. .org. And I am going to be one of the honorees. There's some people that are kind of controversial that are going to be there. People like Roger Stone, I think, for instance. And so Roger's got to be very secretive whenever he's in New York. So if you want to go, just go to IACRL.org. Oh, Bob Capano's calling. Bob, if you're watching, I will call you back on my way into work tonight. And they have this great event on December 15th. You can get tickets. I'm getting an award. So if you want to come, IACRL.org. I have no idea what to expect at all. So I'm sure it'll be interesting, but come if you feel like it. Meanwhile, in January, I'm doing this great event with Jeff Schilling, where he's going to do his presentation on the history of the Catskills, and I'm going to do a live edition of Ask Frank Anything for the assembled masses. And if you want to go to that, just type in Frank, go to Google and type in Frank Morano and Elliot Gordon, and you can get tickets to that. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. We were trying to do this back in November, but I don't think anybody bought tickets. So we're hoping that a smaller venue and more time to promote it will lead to more people coming. Jeff Schelling says, glad to hear the Facebook page is getting cleaned up. Yes. Michael Cutler says, do your Cuomo imitation. Well, I've got a little bit of a cold, so I don't know how good it's going to be. I mean, what can I say? Here, let me see. Sometimes it's easier to do the Ventura invitation when you got a cold. All right, Mike, I'll tell you what. Pick a number between 1 and 466, and we'll read a selection from Andrew Cuomo's book. This is a book that no one bought, not the one that he spent $5 million for. Somehow, in the midst of the COVID pandemic, he found the time to write a book and make millions of dollars. I said Jeff Schilling. Sorry, I meant Elliot Gordon. I'm doing it with Elliot Gordon, not with Jeff Schilling. I'm looking at your name. That's why. So, yeah, pick a number between 1 and 466, and we'll read a selection from All Things Possible, Setbacks and Success in Politics and Life, 22. Okay, let's see what's on page 22. Okay. All right. The Fighting 69 did what they could to repay him. The men painted our house and the women babysat. On Sundays, the baker dropped off Italian pastries. These people exalted my father like a savior, and their stories about his good deeds expanded my view of him, right? Making him seem bigger than life, right? I saw him as a warrior for justice, a great fighter. I was impressed by his occasional mention in the New York Times, which for people in Queens was usually a one-time event, their paid obituary. And I realized that he was Corona's only hope. Now, I am a little out of practice because mercifully he's been out of office for 3 years, and I have not had to deal with him on a regular basis. Unfortunately, if he comes back into public life, I have a feeling I will be getting a lot more practice. Heaven help us. Heaven help us. All right. So we got the Italian American Civil Rights League on December 15th. And what else do I have to tell you about? That's it. So we got to make up a subscriber from Roger ending his subscription to my page for 99 cents a month. You know, what do you get for being a subscriber? I post things that everybody else doesn't see, like the ratings recently, and you get to see some behind the scenes video when people like Fred Rubino and others are in studio. Everybody else doesn't get to see that. I post old Morano Vision clips on there, which a lot of people don't get to see. So if you're interested in any of that, it'd be nice for you to subscribe. Or if you don't care about any of that, it'd be nice just to give 99 cents a month to me to support the work that we're doing. All right. Anybody else have anything else? Maureen, he would be worse than Adams. Ooh. Yes. Yes, he would. Yes. I will end it there. Yes, he would. There'd be a lot of people that'd be better than Adams, but my friend Joe Borelli, for instance, thinking about running supposedly if there's a special. Obviously, Curtis Lee would be great. You know, you got a lot of other things. Gilliana, did Carmine like the books I sent for his birthday? Gilliana, we were actually reading one today. He loves it, and also liked the card that you sent. And I must say, excuse me, I am very impressed with your handwriting. You have great handwriting. I don't know if you spent extra time on it in school. Let me see if he wants to say hello. Otherwise, I'm going to take a nap and try to get some work done. No, he's taking a bath, so he's busy. All right, I'm going to log off unless anybody has a conversation. Well, Maureen says doesn't seem possible that could be worse. Maureen, be very careful. We're going to go from the frying pan into the fire. You know, remember, Andrew Cuomo is the guy that signed cashless bail into law. He's the one that signed Raise the Age into law. He's the one that signed discovery reform into law. Say what you want about Eric Adams, but he has yet to name any bridges for his relatives in the middle of the night. Part of the reason, and Adams has acknowledged this, part of the reason New York is having a little bit of a difficult time with crime right now is because of this guy and the bills that he signed into law. I mean, let's not even get started on the COVID stuff. But I just, honestly, it makes me so ill to think of his record as governor. I mean, just can't. Jeff says the drone thing is getting me nervous here in Jersey. We had these same drones, these same UFOs over Staten Island the other day. And I applaud my friend Congresswoman Malliotakis for calling for an investigation on this and some answers. We're getting no answers from the FAA or anybody else. Oh, my sister-in-law, Deborah, checking in. Hello, Deborah. It was nice to see you on Thanksgiving. So, Deborah, the lone O'Brien sibling that lives in New Jersey. There's one in Jersey, one in California. The rest all live in New York State. Okay. I got to go because I have 4 hours ready to prepare for. I'm hoping to get a nap in. I'd love to try and watch The Simpsons as well. Anybody else have a quick question? No? Okay, do me a favor. If you can, please share this video. Click the share button. Please click like and leave a nice comment. And if you're watching on Facebook, please send stars because we could use the money, quite frankly. What am I going to say? All right. Until we meet again, I'll see you on the radio.